Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa-yo! When I didn't know I could sing, no? I am famous for my singing. Thousands of YouTube hits. You gotta know when to stop though. You can't sing so long that you go off key. But anyway, Christchurch, welcome. Good night. Good night. That more songs like it. We are here in Rendezvous for a reason. Because you can't say that you backing people and you have their back and you have their interests at heart and you stand from a distance and observe their problems. This is the second time the BLP has had an event in the last couple of weeks right about here. A couple of weeks ago, we did a press conference by Worthing Post Office. Out there was stink. It was stink. I heard about it. I had heard about it. But I didn't know how bad it was until I went myself for that press conference. It took half hour to set up the press conference. I started to feel so sick. But you know, you don't want to look like a punk. You don't want to be the first person to get sick. So I did holding myself and playing brave until I see somebody ease behind the post office and vomit. We were there, and we had to hear from people who live out here what they have gone through. Y'all would have seen the video with Grady Clark. I heard Ryan just speak about it. You would have seen the video with Grady Clark. Imagine that a grandfather, his ultimate expression of love for his grandchildren is to pick up all his things and leave his house so his children can come and visit him and not get sick. That's serious stuff. We met a Mr. Muster from the Gap right there opposite Worthing Post Office, and a Mr. George. When we went down through the Gap, some of y'all were here. When we went down through the Gap, we could not even reach the people's houses. We had to play hopscotch. The person at the bottom, the only way to get into their house was to drive in. They could not walk in. The sewage was up to their knees. The man showed us in his house where he had to burst a hole in the bottom of his wall so that the sewage could run out of his yard and into somebody else's. That's how bad it was. Then we came back across there. Any of the press who were here that were there, we came back across by the post office to do the interview. And they had a little child. You know how children are. The child was standing on his lesson all the time. And the child bent down and tied his lesson and promptly got up from tying his lesson and went to jerk his fingers in his mouth. Understand how things spread in Barbados. Understand how it goes. This is not about politics. We've been accused of playing politics with this. We've been accused of trying to make it look bad. We don't need to make it look bad. It is bad. This is as bad as it gets. This is what Barbados has come to. What bothers me most, we had a meeting on December the 11th, not last year, the year before, 2016, where the topics on the agenda were potholes, poor transportation, sewage in the streets. You remember that? That was in Top Rock. Over a year later, we could have used back the exact same poster from that meeting for this meeting because nothing can change. This government has done what no other government in the history of Barbados has ever done. This government has brought Barbados to its knees. We are a proud people. We are a proud country. It is not easy for Barbadians to say we are hurting. I understand. Anybody who drags you to your knees like this government and then tries to sneak around behind you is up to no good. That person who has you on your knees and is easing behind you with a smile on their face, That person does not have your interests at heart. This government does not have your interests at heart. Bajans have to beg for everything. We have to beg to get an income tax refund. Companies have to beg to get back their VAT. We have to beg for water in the north. All about Barbados, we have to beg for garbage collection. You know, it can't get worse. It can't get worse than this. Actually, let me not say so. Let me not say so. I hope it does not get any worse than this. But whether or not it gets worse than this is up to all of y'all out there. And it's up to Barbados. There's a time coming soon when a choice has to be made. That is when you have to ask yourself certain questions. Are you satisfied with what is happening in your country? Are you satisfied with this government? Are you ready to get up off your knees and be proud again? Are you ready to have your pride and dignity restored? Well, you know what you have to do when that time comes. History will judge this government on many things, but it will judge this government harshly on its silence. Stuff happens. Stuff happens. Even if you have the best run country in the world and the best maintained equipment and you do everything you're supposed to do, at some point in time something will happen. And if that was the case, we would forgive them. But when the South Coast Sewage Project and the diffusers and the system was being maintained and maintained and maintained up to 2008, and then no maintenance for 10 years, it was bound to happen. Over 2 years ago, the Barbados Labour Party pointed out that there was sewage in the water and there was sewage in the street. And what did this government do? It came out and it denied it. It said what you saw on the streets was not sewage. You all remember that? Had they dealt with that then, had they started to deal with it then, we would not be having this problem now. Government is not about casting blame. You cannot be the government of a country and 10 years later you are still blaming the people who went before you. You as a government have to play the cards you're dealt. Your role is to lead. Your role is to run the country. If you are still pointing back at the Barbados Labour Party, then you're still in opposition mode, and that's a good thing. Don't wait till now to get accustomed to government because you're going back into opposition just now. Just now. Look, I came down the road, and I pass through here pretty often. And the reality, we don't want to talk about it. We try not to cry down each other. We try not to over-highlight situations. And nobody wants to talk and say that all of the food establishments in Christchurch on the South Coast that's affected should shut down. We don't want to say it. But yesterday afternoon, I was out this side to buy a shirt. You know, you just got to look a certain way when you're speaking on the platform. So I went to buy a shirt, and I was hungry. I was hungry. And I thought to myself, then I said, I got in my car and I drove. I didn't stop till I hit Oystins, and I went into chauffeur in Oystins. And it's not just, how many of y'all know a void out here? I'm serious. How many people, if they have a choice, do not come out here? How many people have stopped buying food from on this coast? But yet the government wants to say that we are causing the hysteria. This problem supposedly, for the umpteenth time, has been solved. The problem supposedly has abated. If you walk down there, you can still smell it. So the street might be dry, but you can still smell it. If you can still smell it, the germs and the bacteria are still there. Let us stop pretending that it is fixed. If you have had 2 days with no sewage on the street, The Ministry of the Environment should have been out here front and center disinfecting this course. They should be hosing down and disinfecting every area that was affected. Every single area. The duty of a government is not to hide. The duty of a government is to mitigate the effects on the people of Barbados. The government did not want to speak. It is only when we went public that people acknowledged there was something. It is only when foreigners started to complain about what was happening in Barbados that the government did something. It is only when at that same press conference, at that exact same press conference, we questioned why the government had not put out anything to advise what to do, what precautions to take, and all of a sudden, they did it. This government cannot think for itself. It cannot think for itself. And the Ministry of the Environment seems to be following the policies of the minister. The Ministry of the Environment only takes effect when it is of some benefit to somebody. I ain't calling a fella name. And he only acts when there's right and proper incentive to act. He needs to go. But I can tell you what, I will deal with that. So I will deal with him, and y'all deal with the rest of Barbados. But every time I get depressed or upset about what is happening in our country, I remember it can't go on forever. Change is going to come. Change is right around the corner. This meeting is not about us. This meeting is about you. This meeting is about Barbados. This meeting is about representation. This meeting is about engaging the public and engaging the people of Barbados, because as responsible representatives, we need to know what your problems are. We need to identify with you, and we need to speak out even when it is inconvenient. The public impression of Barbados is all well and good. And you know what? That should be paramount for us. But the public impression of Barbados overseas runs second to the health of Barbadians at home. That is my principal concern in this issue. When the government changes, I want ministry. I hope to be a minister. But I don't want to be a minister for being a minister's sake. I want to be a minister so I could use my position to better the lives of the people in Christchurch East. I want to become a minister so I can use my position to better the lot of the people of Barbados. Holding on to a job in cabinet can never be more important to me than representing the interests of the people who put me there. It is God first. It is Barbados second. It is party third. It is party third. This government has it all wrong. There are 4 members of the cabinet of Barbados who represent Christchurch. The BLP have 4 MPs that are in the cabinet of Barbados, and yet Christchurch is treated like the bastard child. Christchurch, for the first time ever, has no Barbados Labour Party representative among the MPs. Not one. This has never happened before, and yet we have gotten the worst representation we have ever gotten in Christchurch. Actually, to say it is the worst means to say there's a measurable quantity. We have gotten no representation in Christchurch. It is time for them to go. It is time for them to go. And you know, if it was only the sewage, I might be able to forgive them. But it's not only the sewage that's broken. Barbados is broken. The transport system is broken. The welfare is broken. There are potholes everywhere. Garbage collection is broken. The tax collection is broken. The social systems are broken. The hospital is broken. But tell you what, we have a different approach. We will face it and we will fix it. Christchurch and Barbados, you can take comfort and you can be confident because we have done it before. And you know what? We know how to do it, so we will do it again. We have excellent MPs in waiting for Christchurch. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I consider myself the least of the apostles. So if I am the least of the apostles, that means I have super confidence in everybody else. Christchurch, you are about to be delivered. Barbados, you are about to be delivered. It is time for a change. Now, you talk a lot, and I've spoken a lot, and I think that my time is up. Well, oh Lord have mercy. Well, I misjudged that. So let me talk to y'all from my heart. I like to help people. I like to help people. Throughout my whole life as a lawyer, I tried to help people. I have worked for free for so many charitable organizations. The National Forum Against Domestic Violence, the National Organization of Women, the Save Foundation, the St. John Ambulance Association. I used to walk about with a poppy tin. That is because I care. That is what we are bringing to you. That's what this government is about. We are doing this because we care. This is a rough time to come into politics. This is a very, very rough time to come into politics. But you know what? When it is worse, is when you need what is best. You have had bad. You had bad in 2008. You had worse in 2013. You got the worstest right now. But understand, you're about to get the best that Barbados has to offer. So, all y'all telling me talk my talk. Carol telling me I got 7 minutes. The light there flashing telling me to come off. So, you know, I don't overstay my welcome. They got more to come. There's more to come. This is the first of many. I will have many chances to talk to you before the elections. And then after the elections, I will have the world of time to talk to all of you. The world of time. I believe that when you leave, you should know what it is that I want you to know. I've spoken about a lot of things, but I want you to take this away. Good people of Christchurch, are you listening? I can't hear you. Are you listening? People of Christchurch, can you hear me? This is the one takeaway I want you to take from this meeting. Better is coming. Mia Motley and the Barbados Labour Party have your back. Christchurch East, Christchurch, Mia Motley and the Barbados Labour Party have your back. Good night. God bless you all.